Dave from DNA Reptile here. All I gotta say is, this video of the Show Me Show is probably the best show video that we have done so far. I mean, it's gonna be a long video, so buckle up, let's enjoy the ride. You didn't bring any snacks?
No, it was short notice, so we gotta have health certs coming to Wisconsin.
Okay.
So I didn't know I was doing the show for sure, not until Thursday. And it's a little bit short notice to go to the vet and get my certs. So we just brought the racks and cages and a display.
That works. That definitely works. Tell me what's the difference between the version I got last year, just before COVID hit, and the new version you got here now.
Not a ton, a little bit. We've upgraded, I don't know which light you have, but we have upgraded to the 5,000 Kelvin, 4 rows of LED with a color rendering index of 95 or better.
Okay.
Meaning your color, your animals underneath, it's gonna look more like the true color that they actually are. So if you have a CRI 80, color rendering index of 80, your animal's gonna only show about 80% of the true color. The sun would be 100%, right?
Yeah.
So a CR 95 or 98, which these lights are, get you as close to that sunlight visual color that you in your animal.
Okay. So your whites are white and not any other color.
So if you put a red apple under there, it looks red, not this funny hue. Like you get with incandescent lights, you get the yellowing. We changed the hinge to black to hide some of the gluing bubbles. Give it a little cleaner look.
Even though the gluing bubbles didn't really harm anything, it was just visually.
Yeah, just trying to make improvements wherever we can. We used to put the heat tape in and tape it down with aluminum tape because it would transfer the heat. Well, now we've started machining it with a T-slot like we do on our racks and our cages. So it just slides right in and is locked down by the actual plastic, so we don't need the tape anymore. So it just cleans it up a little bit.
Cleans it up and you use less material then because you're not using that.
Right, except I got more machine time in them now. So I don't know if time is a wash, but we're now able to get the aluminum channel for the lights, where this was when I first upgraded to the 4-row, it was a plastic channel.
I think that's when I'm pretty sure that's
I think that's what you have. And now we were able to finally order in some aluminum that'll fit the lights, so we've upgraded the aluminum there. That's about it since the last one, since you had.
That's still a lot of upgrades for just 1 year.
Yeah.
And you had a hard year. Well, everybody had a hard year because of the COVID trying to get materials.
Materials have been really struggling. Still a struggle.
some really cool stuff here. These are all prints of ones that she has painted. Happy to get a kick out of that one. There you go, Shasta. Very talented. Very talented. What's that? Oh, darn it. I was just gonna ask him a question. All of a sudden, she told me.
Oh, no worries. It's like right
How
behind
big is your room of the originals?
Actually, they're all in very small books. So I have
That's all the
everything.
larger the originals are?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
A lot of these are either this size or even smaller, and then we take a really high detail photograph of them with this camera and blow them up. So we can actually blow them up in really big canvases.
That'd be
This is what
kinda
I did recently. I don't know if you watched the Loki show.
Oh, hell yeah, I do.
Yeah. Loki Gator.
Yeah. The
Just finished it.
doesn't even talk, but it
Yeah.
was like, how am I that?
Yeah, he's that popular.
And we're based out of St. Louis. My name's Murray. If you ever have any questions about care or anything, feel free to hit me up. We also ship, so when you're ready for your next one, definitely check us out.
No, you just gotta come back down here again.
Yeah, we'll be back here for the next Show Me Show.
I held a tarantula one time, and it'll be the only time I ever do it. But because of the guy that did it, just calmly walked me through for 20 minutes beforehand. And it walked in my hand, and in my mind, somehow he convinced me that it wasn't a spider, that it was an animal, just like a big gecko. And in my mind, so the thing crawled, and then it started kind of shifting like it was going to fall down, and instinctively,
You wanna try catching
wanted to
it?
catch it and hold it so it wouldn't hurt itself. And after I put it away, the creepiness came right back to me, and it was like, oh, what did I just do? But while I was doing it, I don't know, it was weird.
All of those need UV.
Yeah.
And they seem like they need the best UV available in the world, and I know a guy.
I think we know a guy.
Yeah, I'm the guy. No, so the nice thing with the LED is, one, you get massive projection out of them. So I have one bulb with me that can project UV 4 feet, and it's 3 watts. They last 4 years, they don't degrade over time, they have a 2-year warranty, and if you run it 12 hours a day, it costs you $156 a year.
How much do you, how long do you run the UV and the Aki?
Well, all my lights are about like 12 hours.
Yeah.
Okay.
'Cause that's what they all do.
Yeah, so 12 on, 12 off, and they'll last you about 4 years. And they don't degrade over time. It's same UV output the day you
Instead
turn
of
it on.
every 6 months.
Yeah, every 4 years or longer. And they have a 2-year warranty, so as long as they're in their own dome, Like, you know, you don't want to put them in a combo dome with like a ceramic heat emitter or anything like that.
Because you're adding
They're
heat to the LEDs.
Yep. So got to keep them under like 100 degrees, but that's easy if they're in their own dome.
So it'd be something that you could add to the Aki and to your bearded dragon to help bring temperatures down a little bit. The video that we just put up this week, I went up to her room with our FLIR thermal imaging camera I got for a smartphone. Thermal image to her Aki enclosure, her bearded dragon, your mastics. That one didn't make the video because this wasn't recording. And sea serpent's hatching rack, so she can get some kind of idea what the heat gradient was. And I trust the FLIR over those heat guns. And her hotspot, the hottest spot, 6 inches away from the bulb, in her Aki is 202. Ooh, that's right underneath, but where a couple inches away is like 130.
Yeah.
You know, a little bit more. And where he hangs out, there's a lot of spots where he hangs out that's like 100 degrees, like 101, 102 degrees.
Yeah.
So
they like it warmer overall, but
which is actually kind of nice.
Not 200, but yeah.
Right, and you said he rarely goes up to that spot.
He never goes to the very top corner right there.
So you're using like a mercury vapor now, or?
No, just a normal 50-watt basking bulb.
And then what do you use it for UV?
For him, I use a tube.
Or the tube. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll see huge differences in their behavior under these lights. Couple reasons. One is the UV that comes out of here doesn't have any shortwave UVB or UVC, and the UVB and UVA that are in this, they can see the UVA, so you'll actually see differences in how they see their environment and how they find their basking spots. So they'll, like a guy bought these for some baby bearded dragons, and he actually, I think he posted on the VivTech page, his beardies have always had UV, always had tube UV in full coverage, and they sit under it, but they don't like bask, they just sit there. But lizards and like turtles naturally basking, put their arms and legs out and flatten all out.
Flatten out to get it all in.
But you don't see them do that in captivity. They do under these lights, and that he actually messaged us. He's like, I've never seen mine do this, but it's a natural behavior, and they never did it until I put your bulb on, and now they're doing it underneath that bulb. It was super cool.
I know of all those enclosures that you have, you probably should. It'd probably also help with the heat in your room.
Yeah, these give off almost no heat. There's a little bit of, very little. You can actually come touch it. This is the hotter one, and this has been on all day.
Oh yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah, that's it. It's warm, but
it's about 80, 90.
A snake could
about
coil
90.
on that. It's not going to get burned. It's not going to get hurt. There's a quartz cover on the front of it to keep dust and debris out. Your animal can't hurt it. The entire outside of it is an aluminum housing, so it's extremely strong.
Yep, it has to do that for heat distribution for the LEDs.
Yep, so it's the whole outside's the heat sink for it. So.
Yep.
And then we even have UV meters. So they're about $100 cheaper than a solar meter. So you can get these for like $150 instead of $250, $300. So you can actually track your UV. And I personally calibrate every single one of these.
You're a monster. How many do you sell a year? They just started. Just started.
I brought them to Schaumburg, and I only brought 10 because I thought, nobody's going to really jump on meters. Sold them all in the first hour. Yeah. There's a huge change of people wanting to do more with UV, hearing me and Erica talk on all these podcasts, and the importance of UV, and that information is finally getting out there, and people are paying attention and wanting to do better. And I'm trying to bring the products that allow them to do that at a more reasonable price, where we can have access to UV to track a meter to track your UV. Because somebody who has one bearded dragon and like for their kids, not going to spend $300 on a meter to check their bulb.
Right.
And then the other thing is these bulbs fix that problem anyway, because you never need to check it. You can. It'll never change.
Right.
So as long as it's on, it works.
Now, in a 4-foot long enclosure, would you suggest 2 of them or just 1?
I like doing 2 on any enclosure, just because what I like to do is have 1 on the hot spot, because that's going to associate the heat and that light. They're actually going to use, crazy enough, some of these animals, there was a study recently that showed they believe that they actually use their vision of UVA to find basking spots, not heat. So that's like, you think about some of these animals that'll walk out on the snow, but they're a reptile, and they like pythons that can see heat.
Yeah.
But they'll go out on snow. that doesn't make any sense if they see heat, but it does make sense
the
if they're
UV.
looking at the UVA, because that would be a white reflective surface and it would look like a crazy high sunlight spot.
Yeah.
So that would make sense why they would be more attracted to that, even though it's negative 10 degrees out.
They can still see heat, but when they
Yeah.
probably can see the UV.
Yeah, so yeah, there's species that can see UV. A lot of basically all your agamids, iguanids, varanids all can see UVA.
And you know about half of those? I'm the ball python
Yeah,
part of
I
our
know-
equation
I
here.
know you are.
I do the ball python, she does everything else.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, but like every living animal, even ball pythons use UV. So I'm actually
Yeah.
working on
I'm curious about that.
I'm working on some stuff that hopefully will be able to start getting UVA and UVB into rack systems. Really, really low profile, tiny strips that could be routed into the plastic, so you could have UV on your animals. And with having that, would allow us to do, like you've seen Focus Cube habitats, they do those Cambro racks, the clear Cambro tubs.
Yeah.
Looks like glass. With those lights in those racks, you could do a dart frog rack. You could do anything in a rack, and you'd have all the lighting and the heating and everything you'd need to make that an ethical enclosure.
Yeah.
You could grow plants and raise UV needing animals inside a rack. Like that's gonna change how we're able to ethically keep a lot of animals. And then help
Technology.
better breeding, better health, better, everything.
And just over in the past few years, everything is just
Yeah.
getting flipped over finally to, you got to think a little bit more about this stuff, about make sure that our animals are actually healthier than what we think they are.
And a big part of so this is something I think we all get frustrated at, like the big box stores, and we want people to do better research before they get an animal, right?
Right.
Think about this: when you go to Petco to get your dog food, do
You
you
research
do
it?
and you don't research it? You assume that place researched it, and if the food's being sold here, it's good. And then you look at it and you go, okay, this is grain free, and I probably should do that. And my dog likes venison, sounds good, so you get that, and it's not too expensive, so you go. But
Yeah.
you don't do hours of research to pick out your dog food. But that same mentality of those stores is what everything in there is. I go to the reptile section. There's people here that know reptile. They're going to tell me what to do. This box was made by a company that specializes in reptiles. They have to know what they're doing. And here's the box that says it's a kit for my leopard gecko or bearded dragon. It says it has everything I need. So why would I need to research?
We fell
more?
into it, yeah.
Yeah. So you don't even get the feeling. You get the feeling that you have everything you need, and you go home thinking you have everything you need, but you don't know that that bulb can actually degrade the UV and still work.
Right.
Why would you know that? It's still on. Why would you replace it? Like, I don't replace bulbs that are still working. You don't replace things that aren't broken. But they don't know they can't
They don't
see
know,
that.
right.
So like we're trying to, I wish people would learn better, but they don't even have the idea that they need to know more.
Is
Because
it
they're being
on the
set up in a way.
packaging of the bulb that it needs to be replaced every 6 months?
No, a lot of them don't say anything. And if it is on the bulb, it's in like their instructions inside, or it's somewhere on the back real small.
That everybody
They miss
throws
it.
away.
They miss it, they don't see it, so instead of being frustrated and being like, oh, people got to do better, people need to research better, I'm done trying to think that that's a thing, because I don't know how we're going to reach those people unless we all just go stand outside pet stores. And that's not going to happen. So what?
We would have tickets from the police officers.
Oh, well, so what I decided I wanted to do is VivTech. And
Yeah.
this is, I can now create a bulb that as long as it's on, it's producing UV, and it goes for 4 years, and you don't have to worry about that anymore. They don't need to know that they should measure their UV, and it could degrade, and all this stuff. All I need to tell them is, this bulb will never stop working, and not stop producing UV as long as it's on.
Yep.
Then you need UV. You need that bulb. You don't need to know why it works. You don't need to track it. You don't need to learn everything about UV. I've done that, and then design that bulb to do what you need it to do in a way that's going to make your animal healthy and benefit, but you don't have to have my knowledge to use it successfully. And that's how we need to start thinking about products.
You used your knowledge to make it so we don't have to use knowledge.
Exactly, so that you can be successful without having to know exactly the science behind why that works. And it's not that I don't want people to do that, but we've got to get them to stay in the hobby long enough to hit that point where they start researching, they start learning more. Because when you first get in and you get that first pet, they're just excited to have their first pet.
Yeah.
And if you can get them successful, then they get to the point where they maybe want another one. Well, then they start looking around on Google what's cool. Then they start reading. And then you hit that learner. And then you build that up and then get them there.
Right.
And that's where we need to look at
And
it.
that's how people like us, get their actual start in this.
Yeah. And that's like, I hate watching social media where people just rip people down, because it's like, guys, none of you started out, you didn't come out of mom like, I know 30 years of reptile knowledge right now. Like, you learned it, and most people that are in this room don't remember the beginning. I don't even remember the beginning. I don't remember a time I didn't like reptiles. So like, I don't remember that everything's new feeling. You know, I don't remember what I didn't know or did know.
Right.
I just know what I know now, and it's hard for people to remember that. And then they look at somebody coming in and they're like, everything you're doing is wrong. How do you not have 50 years of knowledge right now? Well,
Because I just started.
Yeah, because I'm 11.
We're only technically 3 years in. Second year ball breeding.
I'm 3 years in, you're 2.5.
2.5. So yeah, we're still beginning. You know, I'm on 8 clutches this year. Last year, we're finding out certain things that might have issues with the ambient temperature of for your crested geckos, right? Might be a little issue, but other than that, you know.
No questions?
That's a reticulated skull?
Yes. You can pick it up. Those two are replicas. This one is real. And the reason we got it like that was so that you can see, you can do exactly what you're doing. You can turn it and you can look and see exactly how all of it is supposed
It's all
to work.
wired together, yeah.
Yep. It doesn't move. It's fixed right like that. But it is easier when we do educate, because then you can literally pick it up and see how far back the teeth go and all that kind of stuff.
They got another set inside in the middle?
They have 4 sets. All snakes have 4 rows of teeth on top.
All snakes?
I'm pretty sure.
Even ball pythons? Really?
Pretty sure they do. Bill,
What's up? What's up?
She was saying that all...
all snakes have 4 sets on top, right? 4 sets of teeth.
Yeah,
Do they? Even ball pythons?
most snakes do. Yeah. The outside teeth, the inside teeth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty certain most of them do. There's a little bit of different structure to most of them.
Yeah, but
like
they're-
garter snakes have different sets of teeth, and hognose do. So there's some variety within their skulls, but most pythons do.
But they do have 4 sets.
Pythons and boas do. I don't know about colubrids actually. Now I'm doubting myself. Now I'm second guessing myself.
It's always the second guess. And
That's a python jaw. That's a constrictor.
yeah.
And I believe that's python and boa skulls. Colubrids might be a little different, but
Yeah.
Okay.
For the most part, they
I'm gonna research that because you got me on that one.
Yeah, right? Now this is Cinder.
Cool name.
Nobody wanted to take her in because they were, first of all, they were calling her a boy. And they were calling her Lucifer because the animal control told us that she was worse than any alligator they've ever dealt with.
Doesn't look like that to me.
She's never going to be an education animal because she just is not, well, they're calling her he, just not, temperament's not there. And the night we picked her up, my daughter had her in the shower and washed her up. We changed her name, properly gendered her, and she snuggled her and watched movies.
Sounds like what Shasta did with the Hellboy. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, she gets a little cranky once in a while. She wanted to be back in her little car seat, so
Nice
that's why
little-
she was there. Yep.